Neighbourhood disputes can take many forms. Some lead to stony silence, others to angry exchanges over the back fence. They can even get physical. But in one street, a resident has shown how he feels towards his neighbours in a more artistic way. As Linda Kincaid reports, it seems the more Australians are being asked to live closer together, the more we want to live apart.
I am sick of you feral bogans wrecking this joint.
I can't handle it anymore.
Looks like he tried to cut me in half.
Brutal violence.
I got 12 stitches in my lip.
Indecent exposure.
Look at that. Oh, look.
Animal behaviour.
What's that?
That's a bite mark, mate.
A bite mark?
That's a bite mark.
You did it.
Neighbourhood disputes turn otherwise reasonable people into lawbreakers and lawmakers.
You do get people putting their nose in your own business. Maybe you just had enough of it and snapped, I guess.
Residents of Frogmore Crescent in Melbourne's leafy outer east have been given the finger.
I actually just thought it was funny, a bit of a joke at someone.
Angry neighbour David Muscat carved out the giant wooden gesture after being dogged in for illegal tree lopping. He was fined $10,000 for failing to get a building permit and ordered to pay council costs of more than $5,500. He pointed the finger at neighbour John Washbourne.
I'd like to take it up with the council, please.
This neighbourhood dispute got out of hand when David Muscat was cleaning leaves and debris from his property with a leaf blower, the dirt and rubbish blowing across the road and onto the caravan that John Washbourne was cleaning. The result, John and his wife Judy assaulted, with police called in to lay charges. David was charged with headbutting and shoulder barging. He was fined $700. Neighbour Michael Bringley.
He comes across as being a really friendly, nice bloke, so it was a bit of a surprise.
I've become a prisoner in my own house.
64-year-old Tom Schwert and his younger neighbours started fighting early last year. It began over rubbish and got out of control.
Threw a punch at me, grabbed me by my hair.
Trying to quell a party, Tom sprayed water onto his neighbour Susan Homan-Dow. That ended in a pool of blood.
I squirted it with the hose, and that's all I remember. I got hit over the head.
You want to see what he's done to my leg?
The he said, she said dispute remained unresolved until the younger neighbours moved out. Gina Ralston from the Victorian Dispute Settlement Centre deals with more than 400 disputes every week.
The most common complaints that we deal with are issues around fences.
Disputes over fences are followed closely by noise complaints, overhanging trees and barking dogs. Once lawyers become involved, the cost of often a simple argument skyrockets. Michael Quinn of Quinn Group Lawyers specialises in neighbourhood disputes. He believes the rise in disputes equates to the rise in the number of households who don't know their neighbour.
We're in a very litigious world these days.
It makes me feel that I could cut his tongue out and wash his mouth out with soap.
There are the unusual cases, these neighbours brought to tears.
Can't handle it anymore.
After a barrage of insults, noise pollution, and even flying seafood.
We can't definitely say it's come from there, but there is no other place that they could come from.
If you do find yourself caught up in the legal system, make sure you know your rights as well as your neighbours.
Speak to your neighbour first.
Yeah, and if you have lingering issues with a neighbour, details for help can be found on our website. There's the address. Stay with us here.